Using keyboard medicine as a crystal ball. I'm Paul, and this is Paul's Heart. I'm author of the book, Paul's Heart Life as a Dad and a 35-year cancer survivor, available on Amazon. The good old days when you saw the doctor, they told you what was wrong with you and told you what needed to be done to make you feel better. And if everything worked out, you'd live happily ever after. Over the decades, though, things have changed dramatically. For the best or the worst depends on the individual situation. In addition to the 21st Century Cures Act of 2016, which was meant to speed up medical research and treatment approval, April of 2021, an addition was made to this law, requiring every healthcare provider to give patients access to their electronic records immediately, rapidly, completely, and free of charge. As a cancer survivor, I cannot tell you how many hundreds of dollars I once had to pay just to get the copies of my medical records. My records about me. Well, I was already paying the doctor. Why should I have to pay for my records on top of it? Now, I would guess doctors do not necessarily like the patient getting a preview of the records before they get to talk to them, and it could be for any number of reasons. Likely, the patient would get ahead of the doctor on the diagnosis and quite possibly stall treatment while arguing from a position the patient knows nothing about. Wasting time then. And there's also the wasting time with distracting research and diagnosis the keyboard doctors find as they find out things on their own and then argue with their doctors. Did I mention the frustrations of having to wait to hear back from the doctors when they have the information at their fingertips already? In 1996, HIPAA gave patients the legal right to get their records, which of course took time, effort, and money. But the records being digital today, these records are literally at our fingertips. And it is a known factor that this convenience does have its benefits. Patients can be better prepared for their appointments, having the information ahead of time. A lot of time gets wasted dealing with the emotional shock of a serious diagnosis. So, if they can get that out of their system prior to the appointment, the doctor can deal with the issue at hand. And then, of course, patients can potentially rid themselves of any anxiety waiting for the doctor to call them, sometimes up to 2 weeks or more. But how the information gets used as a patient can also have its downside. For instance, a question came across my feed for quote, "From what I've been reading, the typical lifespan of someone with congestive heart failure is 5 years. What are your experiences?" End quote. That was posted to my social media page. First, damn! I hope it's not 5 years. I'm living with congestive heart failure myself, one of my many late side effects from my cancer treatments over 37 years ago. Now, fortunately, back then, I could not Google research on longevity for my cancer survivorship. I would never have known that I could live 37 years because it's still not even stated in Google. Okay? But this poster put the question out there. As I mentioned, I am in congestive heart failure, and I have been since 2021. That makes me at his 5 year question mark right now. Now, I guess I need to make sure my ducks are all in a row at this point, huh? As the other 200 replies he got, basically saying the same thing as I did, stay off Google, and then sharing their inspirational results, some 10 years, 25 years, or more, which is meaningful to me. Living with congestive heart failure and the various activities they still enjoy, including running a marathon, was one of them. Okay, me personally, I like spending time with my children. I like doing plenty of things, and I'm glad that I can still do them. You see, the problem with making a blanket statement like, how long do people live with? One of the reasons statistics are so complicated, they don't take all the mitigating factors into consideration, especially when it comes to the individual patient and their history. And as I often do, I use myself as an example. Even though exposing myself publicly like this with my history, some would not consider wise, I sacrifice that because I feel my purpose in survivorship at this point is to make a difference to others. And so I'm as transparent as I can be. As I said, I have been in congestive heart failure for 5 years now, and my past is definitely complicated due to the treatments of high dose radiation and toxic chemo for my Hodgkin's lymphoma 37 years ago. Now, for the purposes of time, I'm not going to list all the potential issues or body systems that can have an impact on congestive heart failure longevity, but just listening to my heart history by itself should seem daunting enough. Double bypass of the LAD following a widowmaker blockage, a stent of the RCA after a blockage of 90%, TAVR replacement of my aortic valve, left bundle branch block, damage to the mitral valve, a well pronounced murmur, ejection fraction of 40%, myocardial ischemia, and of course, my diagnosis of congestive heart failure. So, as you can see, my heart is a mess. So, if I were to take that poster's question literally, I don't have much time left. Now, compared to someone who has no other issues with their heart, just congestive heart failure, of course, their survival is going to be less complicated and hence probably live a lot longer. I mean, is the patient a smoker or a drinker? Do they eat healthy? They live as stress free as possible? Are they exercising? And of course, do they have their own other issues that could complicate their survival? This is why a blanket statement as fact just does not work and is actually quite harmful. This is the danger of keyboard medicine. For as good as it can do, it can put the unwarranted fear into someone who should really get their information and data from those who know, their doctors. Putting your trust in a digital crystal ball is dangerous and will also rob you of quality time you do have until told otherwise. I know that I have more than 5 years, and I'm counting on many more. I'm a major believer and supporter of this medical transparency. It really is just a matter of how you use it and how much time you obsess over the information that you see. For me, I do not use it for the purposes of how long I may have, but rather as a reminder to appreciate everything that I've gone through and the extraordinary measures that others have gone through to save my life. Until next time, this is Paul's Heart.